Everybody, the Washington Nationals just signed a Major League Baseball player, and it's not just any Major League Baseball player. This is a former All Star with Joey Gallo. What are your thoughts? What do we think? We'll discuss right now.
You are Locked On Nationals, your daily Washington Nationals podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And thank you all for making Locked On Nationals your first listen every single day, as we are free and available wherever you get your podcast. I'm your host, Ryan Clary. You can catch me over on Twitter at RyanClary11 and as well as the show page at LO_Nationals. For all your latest Nationals news and notes, just make sure to check us out over on Twitter. And also, as well, while you're at it, search Locked On Nationals wherever you get your podcasts, including over on YouTube. Hit that subscriber button for all your daily updates when it's your team every single day. Later on in today's show, should you be excited about the Joey Gallo signing? Should you be encouraged with the Joey Gallo signing? We'll discuss that. And really, I'll just say this. You really probably shouldn't be too excited, but there's a big but. Something could happen from this. We'll discuss that a little bit later on the show. What should the plan be for Joey Gallo? This is going to be a Joey Gallo show, just right here and right now. I'll tell you that, and you'll be able to hear all about Joey Gallo. You'll know the ins and the outs of Joey Gallo, what he does great, what he does terrible, what he does okay, all the different things. This is going to be a Joey Gallo show. So what should the plan be for Joey Gallo and this Washington Nationals team going forward? I've got some thoughts, and of course, we'll share those in the second segment. But let's first off just react to the Joey Gallo news because, again, it is kind of a big deal. The Nationals signed a Major League player. But before we get into it, today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Make every moment more. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place a $5 bet. Just visit FanDuel.com/lockedon to get started. Next, Joey Gallo. 1-year deal, $5 million for this Washington Nationals team. When this news came down, no one was inking Joey Gallo to the Washington Nationals. No one was really even leaning towards that. I was a little bit caught off guard. And also looking at this deal, I'm a little surprised with how cheap we landed Joey Gallo for. I think that just kind of goes to show you when you bat under 200 within the last few years, which Joey Gallo has done. We won't be sitting here rating his baseball reference page. He's got some good numbers. He's got some bad numbers. But ultimately, Joey Gallo has not batted above 200 since 2019 when the Nationals were World Series champions. That's the good or the bad, you could say. Not good. It's not good whatsoever. But still, Joey Gallo, here's what he's going to bring to the table. We all know the big weakness with this Nationals team. It's the lack of power. Going into last year, the Nationals in 2023, they had the second least amount of home runs, only above the Cleveland Guardians. That is bad. They only had 151 home runs. Meanwhile, the Atlanta Braves led Major League Baseball with 307 home runs in 2023. Right then and there, you need improvement. And all this offseason, Mike Rizzo, Davey Martinez, they've discussed we need a lefty power bat to kind of replace Josh Bell and Juan Soto's of years past and Kyle Schwarber, all the left-handed power bats that we have just kind of let go through the door. They tried to try out Corey Dickerson last year thinking that maybe he could rebound. Didn't really work out. Now they're going with Joey Gallo, a former All-Star who was an All-Star, by the way, in 2021, and as well was an All-Star back in 2019. But here's the thing with Joey Gallo, and you're going to have to get used to this real quick, Nationals fans. This isn't going to be something that will change this lineup from day one. There's going to be so many downs with Joey Gallo. And when I mean so many, I mean so many. I've got a roommate here who is a Yankees fan, a diehard Yankees fan. If you were to ask him about Joey Gallo, there is nothing but bad things that he will say about Joey Gallo. Now, here's the thing with Gallo, though. Overall, this signing I liked for the Nationals. We'll kind of get into more as to why I like this signing a little bit later on. But what Joey Gallo brings to the table is, number one, he's going to bring home runs. This Nationals team, I don't care whichever way you look at it, Joey Gallo is going to hit home runs. Some way, somehow, he's going to get his power numbers up here in Washington, D.C. And number two, he's going to have opportunities to do just that. That's kind of something that he's been lacking since getting traded away from the Texas Rangers back in 2021. In 2021, when he got traded to the Yankees, he really just fell off a cliff. His production was pretty minimal down in New York there. And then in 2022 as well, pretty bad in New York again. Got traded to the Dodgers. Didn't really do too much. Minnesota Twins last year, didn't really do all too much. But here in Washington, D.C., number one, he's going to get his opportunities. We're going to discuss where those opportunities could come a little bit later on in the show and where I can kind of see him fitting in this lineup every single day. But also don't forget this fact of it. If you can get some production from Joey Gallo, if you can get him back into just a small portion of his 2021 form, then I think you will see a much better offense this year and the potential for something that could be a very good signing for this Nationals team. You shouldn't have these sky-high expectations. You should not have all-star expectations for Joey Gallo. I'll just say that right now. But what you can expect and what you really should expect is someone who's going to be in the lineup maybe every single day. Really, when he's going against right-handed pitchers, that's probably when you'll see him at his best. But when Joey Gallo is in this lineup, any given moment is a home run threat. Think back to Kyle Schwarber in the summer of Schwarbs back in 2021. That's kind of the momentum that we're getting at here. It's not going to be at that rate. You're not going to be getting leadoff home runs every single night by Joey Gallo. It's going to come in a much more rare form as he only hit 21 home runs back in 2023, this last year with the Twins. But what Joey Gallo could bring is a little bit of excitement. Because Joey Meneses, Dominic Smith, all the first basemen really of 2023 for this Nationals team, they did not get it done. Luke Voigt back in 2022 in the second half of the season did not get the job done. The Nationals, they identified what they need and really what they need right now. Joey Gallo can play first base. He can play in the outfield. He's played in a ton of different situations. And ultimately, that position flexibility will also be a pretty damn good thing for this team moving forward. But again, the reason as to why this Nationals team made this move is they identified what they needed most. And what they needed most was a left-handed power bat. You get that with Joey Gallo. Now, is he going to be an all-star? No, he's not. But you can kind of wish upon some things. Maybe CJ Abrams and Joey Gallo are a nice little tandem in the middle of the lineup. Maybe Lane Thomas, it gives him a little bit of a break, and maybe he has a little bit more of a breakout. Because also, I think the slept-on the slept-on really kind of good thing about this signing, you no longer just have Lane Thomas, CJ Abrams with targets on their back. Now you have Joey Gallo, a former All-Star, which would joke about, because again, he hasn't batted over 200 since 2019 when the Nationals had Juan Soto, Anthony Rendon, Trey Turner, all the guys that you know. That's the last time he batted over 200 over a 162-game season. It's pretty bad. But other than that, Joey Gallo is going to come here to Nationals Park. He's going to bring us home runs. His exit velocity is still one of the highest, if not the highest in all of baseball. So he's still hitting the ball hard when he does make contact. I don't know what else to say. This Nationals team, for where we are right now, is a little bit depressing. Sure, that we're excited about a Joey Gallo signing. Because if this were, a team like the Braves, you'd be like, what the heck are you doing? But ultimately, where you are right now, again, you're in this bucket where you're in the clearance rack. You're trying to find deals at the thrift store. This is where the Nationals are shopping. If you're going to go for someone, go for a former All-Star, someone who maybe could get back to his 40 home run pace the way he was in 2017 and years like that, because that's when Joey Gallo was at his peak, hitting 41 home runs, having 80 RBIs back in 2017 and 2018. Maybe the Nationals can crack back into that. Maybe Darnell Coles can get some magic back from that swing, and ultimately, maybe the Nationals can win a little bit more games. Maybe the Nationals offense can have a little bit more power. There's a lot of different things to consider, but ultimately, Joey Gallo, he's here to strike out and hit home runs. That's what you're going to get. He's not going to put the ball in play all too much. He's going to strike out a lot. He also could walk a lot, but he's going to hit some home runs, And that's what the Nationals need at the end of the day. So we'll see what the Nats do. But Joey Gallo, welcome to Washington, D.C. And thank you all for making Locked On Nats your first listen every single day, as we are free and available wherever you get your podcasts. And of course, you can check us out over on YouTube. Just search Locked On Nationals there. Hit that subscriber button. And of course, not just on YouTube, but wherever you get your podcasts, just search again Locked On Nationals. And that is where you will find this show every single day. Next, let's get into what should the plan be for Joey Gallo and this Washington Nationals team. My plan, I will admit, is a little bit different than what others may think. But this is where I think Joey Gallo, this is where you can get the most out of Gallo, and really not just go with Joey Gallo, but also another player who we'll name right after I tell you guys about our good friends over at FanDuel. And guys, the NFL season is wrapped up, but there's still time to get on the action with FanDuel in the NFL playoffs with America's #1 sports book. That's right. It is FanDuel. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place a $5 bet. That's $150 in bonus bets, win or lose. And guys, the app is so easy to use. There are so many different ways to bet, like live same game parlays. You can find bets in the new Explore tab, or maybe you can make a parlay in the new Parlay Hub. That's the best way to find the most popular parlays. Or you can go rogue and figure out on your own what you want to do. That's what I do every weekend. And man, do I love it. FanDuel is the best. So when you do go to FanDuel, visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and make your first bet a layup. Again, FanDuel.com/lockedon and make your first bet a layup. FanDuel, the official partner of the NFL. And now let's get back into it as, again, the Washington Nationals have inked Joey Gallo to a 1-year, $5 million deal, in which was probably the splashiest move of the offseason for the Washington Nationals. Yes, it's a little bit sad, to say the least, that this is the splashiest move that the Nationals will make. But again, we signed a major league player. I don't know, man. Nick Senzel, Dylan Floro, those are nice signings, I guess, but Joey Gallo, a former All Star, you're going to sell some jerseys out of it. But what should the plan be for Joey Gallo? That's what we're going to get into here right now. And again, my plan's going to be a little bit different, so hear me out just a second. Last year at the Twins, and really in years past, Joey Gallo has played, he's dabbled into first base. We've talked about this all offseason. If you're an everydayer, first and foremost, thank you. Second off, you know what I'm about to say. And you know I've kind of already led into it from this first segment. The Nationals need power over at first base. You simply need power in the year of 2024, the year of our Lord. You need power basically at every single damn position in the infield nowadays. Power and speed. That is what you need. Joey Gallo, if it were up to me, going into 2024, Joey Gallo, he's going to play some outfield. He's a solid outfielder. Stick him out there at times. Go for it. It's going to happen eventually. But what my mischievous plan would be, if I was Davey Martinez and Mike Rizzo, and as well as whatever else who is involved in this decision-making process, I would be looking at Joey Gallo and as well as Juan Yepez, the right-handed hitter that you signed to a minor league deal this last offseason. I'd be looking at them and consider a little bit of a tandem over at first base. Again, hear me out for just 1 second. I've got some numbers here for you guys to hear out. Joey Gallo, that is going to be, in my opinion, who should be in the everyday lineup, at least to start out the season, just considering what he has done in the past, see if he can catch fire, because if the Nationals, if he can catch fire, then again, you're going to have someone to trade at the deadline, and you could get something decent in return. But Juan Yepez, who is a right-handed bat, and again, coming from the St. Louis Cardinals, who has had some big power in the past, ultimately throughout his career has had really good power down in the minor leagues. In 2022 with the Cardinals, he had a nice little flash in the pan there, looked really good with them. And then 2023 kind of crashed down to earth. His numbers really came flying down the radar. But here's what Juan Yepez has done against left-handed pitching. In 2023, last year, down in the minor leagues, he batted .271, a .333, .492, and an .825 OPS against left-handed pitching. Joey Gallo, career up in the major leagues against right-handed pitchers, batting 196, a 328 on base percentage, and a 470 slug with a 798 OPS. This is what I would do. If you were going up against right-handed pitchers, Joey Gallo, you're going to be first baseman that night. You're going to be starting against right-handed pitchers. Juan Yepez, left-handed pitchers. When you have a lefty on the mound starting, Juan Yepez, you're going to be starting over at first base. I would platoon these two guys and just try to find something in return. Try to get something going within this Nationals team. Listen, it's not the sexiest thing ever to have a platoon first base. But if you're at the end of the day looking at this lineup, trying to construct a way to win, this is the only path forward. It simply is the only one at this moment in time. I can't think of anything else in which you find both these guys who, by the way, I really like Juan Yepez. Still at this moment in time, we'll discuss this at a later date, just kind of off the top of the dome, I'm still thinking Juan Yepez probably does a little bit more damage than Joey Gallo for the Nationals this year. That's just my take for right here and right now. But going forward, these two guys, they could be a solid to decent platoon for this Nationals team. Listen, these two guys, number one, they're not really defensive threats over at first base. You're not really going to be getting the defensive production of Dominic Smith just last year. You're not going to be getting Adam Dunn from back in the day in 2009 type bat over at first base, but still, you're not going to be getting all that great of production going forward from the defensive side of things from those two guys over at the hot corner at first base. But still, you need something. And in today's game, in the year of 2024, we've said this and said it time and time again. You need power. You need some way to have your first baseman in 2024 to find ways to get the ball and hit it over the fence. You need guys to get doubles. You need guys to simply just get on base. The reason why this Nationals team moved on from Dominic Smith was definitely not because of his defensive, really just stud and should have been a Gold Glover this last year over at first base. But why they got rid of Dominic Smith was the lack of hitting production, the lack of overall power, the lack of getting on base, and the lack of overall affecting this team in any way, shape, or form on the offensive side of things. Joey Gallo and Juan Yepez, what they do, they hit. Maybe with Joey Gallo, he strikes out a lot more than he hits, but still, Joey Gallo is going to bring something to the table that the Nationals have not had since Juan Soto, a lefty power bat who can consistently hit home runs when given the opportunity to. What are you going to do with it now? Because again, you look at this in some way, shape, or form, the obvious answer for what Joey Gallo's role should be, and really what a lot of people are going to be thinking about, is over at left field with Stone Garrett and as well as Joey Gallo. You're going to have that Juan Yepez type tandem that we've been talking about, except with Stone Garrett and as well as Joey Gallo. That's going to be a fine platoon, and likely that is what will happen. But at this moment in time, I'd be looking at Stone Garrett having a little bit more of a full-time role. I've discussed, and we talked about this last week. If you haven't checked out that episode, check it out. It's just from last week. I think Stone Garrett could have a pretty big season with this Nationals team if he was given all the opportunities to do so. But going forward, why not have this tandem here? Why not have Juan Yepez and Stone Garrett or Juan Yepez and Joey Gallo take over the first base roles and see what they can do? It's certainly something to really just kind of think about and really gnaw on going forward. But I think right now, Joey Gallo, with what this Nationals team is given, he's not going to be necessarily an everyday player. I think he will probably end up some way, somehow playing every single day up until maybe Robert Hassel or James Wood, Dylan Cruz get the call up to the majors, whatever prospect you want to name. Until those guys get called up, maybe you see Joey Gallo every single day. Maybe you see Juan Yepez a little bit more than what you think. I certainly think you're going to see Stone Garrett a decent amount. But still, Joey Gallo is going to be in this lineup because Joey Meneses even, you can tie in these two Joeys, Meneses did not get it done as far as power goes last year. They're going to need some sort of power, especially from the left-handed side of things, in order to help Lane Thomas, help CJ Abrams, and ultimately just help this lineup out a lot because we sure know the Nationals, they need help. They're going to get help with Joey Gallo if he can stay just a tad bit consistent. Ultimately, we'll just have to see what they do going forward. Thank you all for making Locked On Nats your first listen every single day, as we are free and available wherever you get your podcasts. And of course, check out Locked On has launched the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube. Locked On Sports Day is here for you 24/7, covering the top sports stories of the day with the local experts of Locked On, plus our national shows covering every league. Go to Locked On Sports Today on YouTube and subscribe to the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel. Again, that is Locked On Sports Today. Next, should you be excited for Joey Gallo? Not really, but I'll explain. Should you be excited for Joey Gallo? That is the $1 million question heading into 2024. You should not be. Hear me out for a second, though. Kind of put a bow on this show with talking about just what if. On this What If Wednesday, which is what it is, now it is a Joey Gallo Wednesday. What if Joey Gallo can bat .210? What if Joey Gallo can have a .490 slug on the season? What if Joey Gallo can lead Major League Baseball in walks yet again like he did back in 2021? What if Joey Gallo can hit 30 to 35 home runs over 162 games? These are all things that are big, massive, huge, ginormous what-if situations. But what if? It's a possible thing because, again, let me remind you, this Nationals team, second to last in Major League Baseball as far as home runs go. And as far as their slugging percentage goes, it's not much prettier as well, as they were down in the bottom half of baseball, which finished 23rd in all of Major League Baseball, one of the worst in the National League, and ultimately not all that great. You're going to get one thing out of Joey Gallo. Number one, power. Number two, a lot of bloopers and drama. Not from drama from Joey Gallo. He's a perfectly fine teammate from everything that we have all seen and heard. But here's the thing. You're going to get a lot of MLB blooper reels. If you follow John Boy Media, you'll see them posting all sorts of things like Joey Gallo swinging at a curveball that is 6 feet off the plate. You're going to see all the memes out there about Joey Gallo. You're going to see all the strikeout memes. You're going to see the memes about him batting 110 over a period of 3 weeks. You're going to see it. You're going to go through it. But here's the thing about Joey Gallo. It is an experience. And here's the thing with Nats in the past. We're here for the experience, man. We've been through it. We have been through the signing the old veteran player to see if he can bounce back like a Josh Harrison back in the day, who did bounce back and who was very good here in Washington, D.C. A lot of guys, the Nationals, Mike Rizzo, he's kind of done well in this department. So in that aspect of it, maybe he can bring out something here. I don't necessarily know that for a fact. Joey Gallo, 1 year, $5 million contract. Sign me up, I guess. Here we go. Joey Gallo, should you be excited? Not too really. Not really too much. But what if? That's all I'm going to say. Next, I do want to talk about some of the Baseball Hall of Fame, as we got 4 new Hall of Famers here. Adrian Beltre, Texas Ranger legend, Hall of Famer. Todd Helton, Colorado Rocky, Mr. Rocky, whatever you want to call him, Hall of Famer. Joe Mauer, Minnesota Twin legend from Minnesota, born in Minnesota, grew up a Twins fan, Hall of Famer. And of course, the legendary Jim Leyland as well, Hall of Famer. All 4 guys right then and there. This is a baseball podcast. This is a Nationals podcast. None of these guys not really have too much to do with the Nationals at all, in fact, whatsoever. But still, really cool. 4 guys who should be in the Hall of Fame. Todd Helton belongs. Adrian Beltre belongs. Joe Mauer belongs. And Jim Leyland belongs as well. This is one of those Hall of Fame classes where I don't necessarily think you got anything wrong. Number one, you could say in years past, obviously, Barry Bonds, Alex Rodriguez, all of these guys, yes, they should be Hall of Famers if you're asking me. That's an issue that we can discuss on later dates going forward. But still, I wanted to give those kudos to those 4 guys, Hall of Famers. And of course, Texas Rangers. Y'all know they used to be the Senators. And of course, Minnesota Twins, they also used to be the Senators. So I guess you could say there are some ties to DC. Some old-time fans may hate those teams. I don't necessarily know. I don't hate them. I know I've had some family members in the past who kind of despise those organizations for leaving Washington, D.C., but we'll just have to see. I think it's kind of cool. 4 Hall of Famers, Jim Leyland, Joe Mauer, Adrian Beltre, and Todd Helton. Pretty solid Hall of Fame class, all well-deserving of it. baseball legends. You cannot tell the story of baseball without those four guys over the last few decades. Next, on tomorrow's show, we will be discussing other things than Joey Gallo, admittedly, but still, Joey Gallo, everybody, buckle up. It is going to be a ride. It's going to be a fun one. And of course, baseball is, by the way, you have spring training games in less than 1 month. Think about that for a second. You'll be watching the Nationals, maybe not on Masson, but maybe on like some illegal stream or whatever you want to say. You'll be watching the Nationals in some way, shape, or form in a month or so. That's exciting. And of course, check us out on Locked On Nationals, wherever you get your podcasts, including on YouTube. That is where you'll find us every single day. And of course, hit that subscriber button as well. I'll catch you guys on the flip side. Have a good one. Joey Gallo, safe travels to DC.